Hey guys, this week Mike and I are going to talk about the Dial of Destiny. Michael, how are you, sir?
Good, doing okay. Just a normal week out here on the farm. Been
You
kind
are
of
out on the farm.
we're in,
That's a big deal, actually.
yes, that's right. We are.
Maybe we'll talk about that here in a minute.
Maybe, or if I lose connection, hey, the farm, living on the farm is kind of funny, but please, Lord, more internet. So yeah. So speaking of that, I've been trying to think about. I've been learning some things, like chickens, think about, I want my own eggs, and just, and then you got your pigs, you make your own bacon. And so I thought, cows, fresh milk, nothing like fresh milk. So I purchased a cow like last week, and I thought it was a pretty good deal. And I started milking the cow, and I realized real quick that it wasn't a female cow. I was like utterly disappointed. I mean, it was utterly disappointing.
Oh. It's the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe.
Utterly disappointing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for those who don't know, we should probably say you are in a new location again.
That's right. Yes, the the authorities figured out where I was at. So now we've had to move to a new location, set up base at a unknown location. So yeah, so far, we're safe at the compound.
I've seen the aerial shots. It is kind of a compound.
Yeah, I mean, the 5 other wives, they seem to like it, and the so
I'll ask Tiffany about that the next time I see her.
Yeah, folks. So tonight I'm in a new location, and we have a new show. And tonight is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yes.
It's been out for a while. It's on, and it's been on Disney Plus. And we thought, we haven't talked about it, and let's discuss it tonight. And also, too, we've got some nerdy news of the week as well. So I think we should start with that.
Let's do it. It's time for the nerdy happenings of the week.
So what do we got going on in the nerdy news?
Well, let's start with this. Ryan Reynolds took to Twitter last week to say that Disney's Marvel first R-rated MCU movie just wrapped up shooting. The film Deadpool 3 began filming sometime in early 2023. Okay. And as we all know, it was very delayed because of the writer's strike. Yes. And then they said they were going to continue trying to shoot during the writer's strike.
Gotcha.
But not sure how well that worked, because Ryan Reynolds if they shot during the writer's strike, they weren't allowed to change a single word from the script, which would mean Ryan Reynolds wouldn't be able to ad lib.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I'm doubtful that really worked or happened, unless they were just shooting things where Ryan Reynolds wasn't involved. So that was early 2023, the strike, the writer's strike, and then obviously the actor's strike put everything on hold. But many fans are excited to see Ryan Reynolds again as the Merc with the Mouth, and to see Hugh Jackman return, reprise his role as Wolverine for the first time in the official MCU.
Yes.
And in Ryan Reynolds' post, he said, "I got to make a movie with my closest pals, and that doesn't happen very often. See you July 26th.
Nice.
So July 26th is release date. And here's hoping they can actually pull that release date off since they just finished up in January. Uh, but that I'm excited about that. This will be, the MCU's first R-rated movie, and we'll have to see how it goes.
Well, I'm excited. It's the first time that we'll have used Jackman and Ryan Reynolds back together,
Yeah.
and should be very interesting. What type of universe or multiverse or what's happening, how this all transpiring. So
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of third dimension, kicking down the fourth, the fourth wall.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be breaking the fourth wall. A lot of people are saying there's going to be time travel, maybe
I can see that.
multiverse at least.
Mm-hmm.
And from set photos, we know that Wolverine's costume is a lot more like comic accurate
Yeah.
versus Fox X-Men. So we'll have to see how all that works out. Along that lines of superheroes, DC Movies says they have found their Supergirl. Millie Alcott is going to play Supergirl in the upcoming movies. And some of her followers may know her from the House of the Dragon show.
Mm-hmm.
And Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow right now is the working title for
Mm-hmm.
for the film that's going to come out. It'll be the first Supergirl film. I mean, there was a Supergirl film like years ago, right? Or was it just a TV
I think
show?
it was a TV series. It was on
TV
the
series.
CW. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if this is the first time we'll see Supergirl, and I'm super confused as to what the difference between Supergirl, is there a Superwoman? Is it just
Yeah,
Wonder Woman?
I think there is they did a comic Superwoman and then Supergirl and they have Super Dog too and Super Cat. So I mean they've got the whole super.
Uh, it's super ridiculous.
It's super
Um,
ridiculous. DC is super ridiculous right now. Anyway,
all right, so she will star as Kara Zor-El,
Kara.
the cousin of Superman. And I guess we saw a Supergirl. It just wasn't her movie. We saw a
No,
Supergirl
it was in
in
the
the
Flash.
Flash, right?
Yeah, which I really
So
liked. I liked her.
I did
Well, she
too.
was.
I
I'm a
there's
little disappointed. I mean, I know they want to totally cut off that whole,
yeah.
but man, there were some really good actors in there. I
I
wish they
I
would have.
know. I feel like they could have pulled her out of that
I think they could
and
have.
put her in as the new Supergirl, just with a whole new reboot.
Yeah, I mean, people would.
She wasn't there long enough
Yeah,
to matter as far as the DCEU goes. But
yeah,
but
I
anyway, they're
agree with
going a
that.
different direction. Um, Now, as far as that movie goes, I think we're looking at probably 2025 or
Yeah,
2026 before we see this film.
I bet be at
Um,
20. I bet you it's 26. If I don't know.
yeah. So because we've got the Brave and the Bold, the Batman movie,
Yeah.
that's somewhere in there, and then
Mm-hmm.
we have the Superman movie that I think is supposed to be the first one,
Hmm.
and that one is for sure 2025 at this point, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think
So
so.
I think we're a ways off from seeing anything from DC that's going to be theatrical anyway.
Isn't it interesting? The first go around was a first Superman movie too.
Yeah, well, and
Man of Steel.
technically, the DC universe, DC movies, technically, we're going to get the Creature Commandos as the first DC property. But
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a show, not a
Okay.
movie.
Okay.
But I think the Superman will be the first movie we get to
Movie.
see.
Okay.
And then kind of off that track completely, into, we don't talk about medical news very often.
No, we don't, but this is
Um,
fascinating.
this is fascinating. And I remember actually one time we brought this up once before on the show.
Yeah.
We talked about Neuralink from
Mm-hmm.
Elon Musk. And we talked about it being implanted in a pig for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was several years ago. Well, apparently, Musk has gotten approval to do human testing on the Neuralink. And let's see, the brain chips Neuralink implanted a device in its first live human subject on Sunday. Yeah, this past Sunday. So less than a week ago. And the patient is recovering well, according to Elon Musk. Now, it placed in a part of the brain that plans movement, it says, the article says. The device is designed to interpret a person's neural activity so they can control external devices, such as a smartphone or a computer, with their thoughts. And so it's currently in clinical trials,
Yeah.
which are open only to some individuals who are quadriplegics due to ALS or spinal cord injury.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty limited right now, and it's not technically the first chip implant in a human, but apparently this one is more invasive. Like it's further into the brain than anything that's ever happened before. So it's a different kind of technology, and apparently some doctors are kind of, I don't know, they're really against it, but they're skittish of it because
I can
of
understand that.
the
Yeah.
placement.
Yeah.
But
No, I understand.
as well, Elon Musk seems to, he kind of implies that he sees this, if it goes well, he sees this as going further than just helping patients that are quadriplegics or that can't do certain things. He actually sees it as, in the future, possibly, being able to kind of upgrade regular people.
Hold on a minute.
Tonight at 11.
Doom!
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you what, Elon. I hope that's more dependent than my Starlink. Because I got to reboot my brain every time connection with something, or else suddenly I start connecting to somebody else's phone, or I'm driving down the street. Yeah. Go ahead.
But anyway, so that's I mean, that's kind of the big thing there. But there's a lot of controversy about it, and there's a lot of interest in how it goes. But I mean, the idea that someone who can't move their arms and legs can just think and be able to control their phone, control their, I mean, technically, if you can control a computer or a phone, a quadriplegic could drive their could drive a wheelchair just by thinking about it. They could do tons and tons of things.
Yeah. I mean, the only problem with that is like somebody like me who's absent-minded, like, if I connect to a car and I'm driving it, with my brain, my mind goes off in different my mind goes off in different directions. So I don't know if that's a great idea, at least for someone like me. I think you should be tested first, mind over matter kind of a thing. So yeah, I do see some good things, but then, also, I do have some hesitations too, but
so this apparently is something that Elon Musk has talked about. The article says he's spoken of putting humans on a path to symbiosis with artificial intelligence.
Oh my
And
goodness.
suggested he would get the technology installed in his own brain someday.
Oh, okay.
You can make Bitcoin trades in your sleep now.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Well, I don't know about you, but you could
bite my shiny metal ass.
That's there we go. That's how I feel.
Well, I don't really have any other really good nerdy news. Do you have anything?
I don't have anything when it comes to nerdy news, but I do have a couple of things we like to call stupid news.
Let's do it. It's the Wheel of Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
Well, in the news, you know me, sometimes, I like to be out in nature, and sometimes you like going to the zoo. Well, I don't know about this particular zoo. And this situation, swearing parrots are separated after telling folks to go to tell them where they can go.
Oh my gosh. Swearing parrots.
5 foul-mouthed parrots have been separated after learning to swear at a Lincolnshire zoo in England. The parrots' names, Billy, Elsie, Eric, and Jade, and Tyson. They joined the Wildlife Park Zoo colony of 200 gray parrots in August, but soon after
Eric
they started.
Gang.
They wear these little leather jackets, as I can see that. Yes. Soon after, they started encouraging each other to swear. And, that's the bad thing about it. When you hang out, kids, parents out there, be sure, make sure your parrots, there's parrots. Anyway, just know what your parrots are doing out there. And so, the bad influences, you have to, go to the park, and be careful. Anyway, so we saw very quickly, we're quite used to parrots swearing, but never had 5 at the same time. Steve Nichols, the CEO of the wildlife park, told a local paper, he said most parrots clam up outside, but for some reason, these 5 love cussing outside in front of our customers. The parrots have since been distributed to different areas of the park, which I guess that's nice if you want to just, have the profanity in different areas of the park, I guess. No one has complained about the parrots, Nichols said, but they were separated for the sake of the youngsters, of course, and hope that they, wouldn't pick up the natural calls from the African grays parrots. People have come to us, but they think it's highly amusing. He said we weren't having any complaints whatsoever. He said, but when you have parrots telling you to F off, you have to stop it at some point. So anyway, the park is also home to Parrot Chico, who made headlines in September after learning to sing a range of pop songs, including Beyonce's If I Were a Boy.
Oh my gosh.
Okie dokie smoky. For us who, if down the Midwest or down to the Southwest, we have Dairy Queen. It's all over the place.
Yes.
But apparently Dairy Queen employees among 10 were arrested in a Texas meth ring sting. Man, give me a blizzard. Police are calling the arrest of nearly a dozen people Operation Blizzard After discovering people were selling more than just the frozen treats at the Dairy Queen in Clinton, Texas, the Clinton Police Department arrested 10 in connection with stealing methamphetamine around multiple locations in town, including the Dairy Queen, where several of the people worked, according to a news release posted on Facebook by the CBD. Local law enforcement had investigated the case since June of 2023 when they received a tip that people were selling meth in a small town, which is northwest of Waco. Imagine that. The news, I don't know what I say, imagine that. Sorry. I mean, one thing happens in Waco and then we go, anyway. Sorry, folks. I love Waco. Great town. Okay.
The only reason, let's be honest, the only reason this isn't happening in Florida is they don't have enough Dairy Queens.
Exactly. They really don't. I'm sure they have some other franchise, but they don't have a Dairy Queen. The news release says the police discovered several people were selling the drugs at a Dairy Queen where they worked, hence the name Operation Blizzard. Police set up undercover purchases and learned that the meth was also being sold around other locations in the city. Police obtained a search warrant for the area apartments where two of the workers were arrested and found for meth. The arrest led to the police to arrest other individuals as well, totaling the 10 people on the 26th of January. Of course, the local police department, they say we always encourage small businesses in Clinton. However, we would encourage these types of entrepreneurs to take your criminal enterprise elsewhere. Charges range from manufacturing, delivering controlled substance to engaging in organized criminal activity. The people who worked at the Dairy Queen no longer works at the Dairy Queen. Imagine
that.
So next time you ask for a Blizzard, I would do a drug test on it first. And
so if you live in that town, then and you're needing a job, Dairy Queen might be hiring.
They might be. Might be. And that's stupid news.
This has been the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
Man, between Operation Blizzard and cussing parrots,
my goodness. And now we're going to talk about the Dial of Destiny.
That's right. Turn the dial of destiny. Well, of course, this came out on, let's see, it came out in 2023 and 2023 came out during the summer, I believe. Yep. Do you remember? Yeah.
And I don't remember the specific date, but it seems like it was scheduled to be a summer blockbuster, because that's how things work.
That's right. Exactly. Now, an IMDb rating, they gave it a 6.6 out of 10. I think also if you looked at Rotten Tomatoes, it was about the same. Popularity was 74 on the rating. You had different rankings. But we're going to talk about what we thought about it. I know since what was the last one, the Crystal Skull, that was, let's just say, a lot of people were concerned about this next film and the final film of Indiana Jones.
Yes.
And so we're going to talk about it a little bit tonight. And I don't know. Do we normally wait till the end and we talk about what we think about it, or we just kind of?
I don't know. I think we just go for it. What did you think? What did you think?
I don't know whether there was so much. I don't know if there was so much negativity out there about it or so much bashing, but I came away really enjoying it. Mm-hmm. I really liked it. There is some stuff there as far as. I think they did a good job on the as far as the aging process, the de-aging. It still was hard for me to hear a gravelly Harrison Ford speaking as a
I
young
was I
Indiana
was going to say, I
Jones.
was specifically going to bring that up. The
Yes.
de-aging technology visually was pretty impressive.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you can't. They didn't bother trying to process his voice, or if they did not do enough.
Yeah, it was really hard for me. It you know, it has in the very beginning, it really had a feel of the Last Crusade,
Oh yeah,
because
oh, yeah,
of, in the Last Crusade, it was the German castle. It was
yeah,
a castle in Germany. You had in Austria, and you had the Nazis, and
yeah.
it's interesting that he shows up in that in a German uniform like he did in the Last Crusade.
Yeah,
There was a lot of callbacks throughout this film,
there
and
were.
it was, and honestly, it wasn't. It was. I thought it was done well.
Yeah,
And if you're fans of the series, you'll pick up on some of it. And it was a really heartwarming story in certain parts, and how, there's certain actors you wondered, well, how were they going to write them off? Well, they were pretty creative about it, and I think they did a pretty good job.
yeah.
But overall, I enjoyed it. I actually liked it better than the Temple of Doom. Um,
I agree.
you know,
I'm
I
right
like
there with you.
I liked Raiders is the best. I love Last Crusade.
Hmm.
I would have to say maybe after Last Crusade, I would say this film, then maybe Temple of Doom, and then, well,
Hmm.
if you had to put it in order, Crystal Skull.
Yes, I think
So,
I'm right there with you. I did really enjoy this film. It was fun. Now if you're somebody who goes, that could never happen, well, you're watching the wrong movie.
you're watching the wrong movie. But
Because
this,
in every Indiana Jones movie, there's been the ridiculous.
yeah,
I mean, you talked about the third movie. I mean, there's a Knights Templar that's been alive
yeah,
for for 400 years or 600 years. I don't remember
yeah,
how old he's supposed to be, but guarding the Holy Grail since the 1300s.
yeah, exactly.
I'm like, okay, no, every one of these movies has had some let's suspend disbelief for a little while
Yeah,
and just have some silly fun. I also did really I mean, the movie really moves quickly.
yes, it
There's a lot
does.
of action.
Really good action.
It's not slow.
No.
And there's a lot of, jumping from, there's stunts from jumping from one place, from one card to the next. That's
Hmm.
just a little ridiculous. But if you think back, that's the kind of stuff that happened in the early movies as well. Uh,
Definitely.
so I felt like it fit well in the grand scheme of things for an Indiana Jones movie. Um, and I thought that the acting was really good. I really enjoyed Phoebe Waller-Bridge's Helena.
She
Um,
did a good job.
she did a fantastic job in that part.
She really
Great
did.
actress. There was one person I was trying to figure out, Ronaldo, the Frogman. I did
Yes.
not realize it was Antonio
And I
Banderas.
know.
I was
I
like,
know.
I recognize him, but I can't place him with the
Exactly.
beard.
I
And it was
know.
Antonio Banderas. Um,
Exactly.
one thing I will say I was a little disappointed of, uh, I would like to have seen more of John Rhys Davies' character.
Yes, I would have too.
Salah. I would like to have seen
Salah.
more of Salah. It would have been kind of fun if he had gone
I
along
would
for the
be.
ride.
Yeah.
But I get that, the kid was really the replacement for that.
Exactly.
Teddy, I think was the character's name.
Yes, Teddy.
He was kind of that person for us,
Yeah.
rather than having Salah along for the ride.
Mhm.
But I did really like that. And you talked about some callbacks to the other movies. One of my favorite callbacks is at the very end, where we get to see the original Marion, and
Yes.
they're married, and she asks, he asks where it doesn't hurt.
It's unhurt. Yeah.
Yes, and that's
Which is
a brilliant callback.
Yeah, and I think it was a sweet way to end it.
Mhm.
As it was really good. Of course, it was based, after the moon landing in
Yep.
1969, and they had the big parade, and you had the big three astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. They made a cameo in there. I
Yep.
mean, well, a cameo as far as the magic of Hollywood.
Well,
But
I will say this is something, when we watch the trailers,
yeah,
I envisioned that whole scene as being the big climax to the movie, not
yeah,
the
but
beginning.
not. Yeah, exactly.
I was so surprised
I was too.
that's not where that fit in. When it was right at the beginning, I was like, "What? Wait! I thought that was the whole buildup."
I know, and I'm really glad. I mean, I really like. It was really interesting. I mean, it's just, we were talking about, how people, going back to, you were saying about some people saying, well, this is ridiculous. That couldn't happen. Well, people understand that Indiana Jones was based off a serial movies back in the 1930s and the 40s. These were B pictures, or even the in-between pictures between A and B films. And they would have cliffhangers every week. So you had these heroes who would do these ridiculous things, and then, wait till next week, blah, 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 blah. And then you go and you buy your tickets next week and you watch the next film. So it's based off of that. And that's what George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, that's what they were trying to create. So, the silliness, like in The Last Crusade, where, Indiana Jones is on a tank and they got 5 Nazis in front of him, and he shoots one, and this little bullet goes through all 5 of them.
Yeah.
People, and then after that, he looks at the gun like, okay, wow. That scene is meant to be that way. There's some of that there.
Another brilliant callback was him pulling out his whip at the auction table, and everybody stops, looks at him, and then pulls the guns on him, which is a brilliant callback to the first movie.
Yes,
where rather than bothering to use the whip or doing anything, he just pulls out a gun and shoots the guy.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. And of course, you have your typical Indiana Jones travel sequence, that whole thing. But I mean, it was. And, and of course you had Salah, he sings, Gilbert and Sullivan, that's kind of this thing, just, I don't know. I think I did a good job. Of course, at the very end, Indiana Jones grabs his hat through the window, I mean, there's a lot of these tropes, a lot of these, these callbacks. But getting into the movie, and getting into, of course, a lot of the actors have passed away. Mm-hmm. And there's one scene, and of course, a lot of people, he had a son, Mutt was his name, Shia LaBeouf, which, he, situations happen in Hollywood, and he's no longer cast in it. And so anyway, so it was interesting, and I found, of course, those who are listening to the podcast are not going to be able to see it, but there's one scene that I snipped, and in the beginning of the scene, after the beginning part, you go to the present time Indiana Jones, and there's a room.
Yeah.
If you look at the photo, one, there's a black and white photo of Marion. There's a photo off to the side that looks like is his father, up, and Dr. Henry Jones.
Yeah.
You also see a photo of Indiana Jones with Sala. You see the photo of Christ, which goes back to the Last Crusade.
Yeah.
And then you have up on the very top, you have a shelf, and you have an American flag in a perfect tight triangle, and next to it is a photo of a young man that looks like he's in uniform.
I did not catch that.
Yes. So so that right there shows, and usually, the flag is handed to the mother and the father, if, in this, or a wife, if a loved one in service was killed in action. And that was a photo of their son, Mutt. I don't like saying the word Mutt, but that was the name they used.
Yeah.
And so in this, you see later on seeing Indiana Jones looking at a letter, and it's a decree of separation between him and Marion. You find out later on, which was really touching, is that, and I love this scene, and they're on a ship, and Helena asked her, I said, if you could go back in time, what would you do? And she names all these fantastic things. And he said, I would go back in time and tell my son not to enlist, because if he did, he would be killed. And the results of that would destroy your mother, which means, and I would not be able to console her, which means would lead to our divorce. And all suddenly the whole story is right then. And it was like so good. It was so good. It was very touching, and you saw it in his face. And he lost his son, he lost his wife. He just he retired. From this 10-year rinky-dink college of archaeology, which was not the same prestigious one that he was at before, during the 30s and the 40s and part of the 50s. So it really explains a little bit of the past. And throughout the movie, there were certain things, like when he was climbing up the wall, he says, what am I doing? He's climbing up this wall in this cavern. He says, with my, with my pins and my joints and all these replacements he's talked about, he said, he said, you haven't drunk the blood of Kala, which is back in Temple of Doom. So they make reference from these different films in the past.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really fascinating. And I really enjoy it. I love history pieces, set pieces, time pieces. And I thought, they did a really good job in the whole World War II Nazi, that the Nazi scenes, the interaction. Again, the only thing that kind of took me out, again, in the earlier ones, was a raspy Indiana Jones. But I like the cinematography. I really enjoyed it. I thought, for the most part, some of the special effects were pretty good. I'm sure there's some that on there that, I don't know, anything caught out to you on some of the special effects? I mean,
honestly, not a whole lot. What CGI there was looked really good. For the most part, the de-aging looked really great.
Yeah, I mean, I was really...
I remember seeing it when we saw the trailer, thinking, man, that looks good. How's that going to look when they're moving around a lot? And they did a good job of, I don't know who they had to be his stunt double, for the big movements. But they did a really good job of making it continue to look like young Indiana Jones, even when he was changing lights and situations and moving from place to place. Because that one scene, like they've got the flashlight on him, and it looks like, okay, well, they did a really good job, but he's not moving a lot, he's not talking a
That's
lot.
true.
In fact, I think the first trailer we only heard his voice off screen, so I don't even think we saw him the lip sync at that time with the age, the de-aging. So I thought they did a great job. I think the dial of Archimedes is kind of an interesting idea.
Yes. Yeah.
We knew going in, because you and I kind of read spoilery things from time to time.
Yeah, we do.
So we had heard that there was probably going to be some time travel involved. I was really fearful that there was going to be a lot of time travel.
Yeah.
A lot of time hopping.
Yes.
But I'm glad they didn't.
No, they didn't.
They really only did one. They only traveled in time once. All the other time hops that we saw were just flashbacks and remembering previous events, or setting up things so that it made sense later on. So I was pleased that that's the direction they went.
Yeah, I agree. Mickelson did a really good job. I thought he did a very fine job. It was fascinating. It was, his whole idea was wanting to correct the mistakes that Hitler made to bring the Third Reich back again. And they're in the plane, and he makes the comment. He makes the comment to Indiana Jones. He said, Indiana Jones says, "What are you going to go back and do? You're going to kill Churchill, Ike. What are you going to do?" And he basically his idea was he said, I'm going to kill Hitler."
Yeah.
I said, what kind of Nazi would kill Adolf Hitler? One that would correct his mistakes. And so,
and if you remember earlier in the movie, Mickelson's character says, the Americans didn't win, the Germans lost.
Yes.
Which implies that Hitler made major mistakes. Yes, that's why the Americans won the war, not because they actually won.
He actually said Hitler's name. He said because Adolf Hitler lost the war. And so
so his whole arc makes sense if that's your belief.
If
your belief is that Hitler screwed up, you kill Hitler to fix it.
Exactly.
Because you're basically going to become the new Fuhrer.
And
you're going to be able to say, okay, we're going to do this because I know this. We're going to do this because this didn't work.
The whole situation with Mickelson's character, he is and this is actually true. Back in, a lot of NASA had former German, had a lot of former German physicists and rocket engineers and stuff like that. And some of them happen to be Nazis, in the sense of as far as being working for the Nazis and I'm not talking about your everyday German. I'm talking about in the Reich. So this is kind of loosely based off of a certain person. I can't remember the person's name, but it was based off of someone. But I thought it was interesting as far as the story is when you think about it. It's the how the CIA, the president, is all involved in this in the beginning when they're trying to, all the president wants to do is, have, Mickelson's character to come to the White House, to give him a medal and have him to leave. And so the CIA is there, they're kind of watching him, trying to help him achieve what he's trying to achieve. And I don't think they really understand what he's doing, but but in that, a few Americans are killed, and eventually those CIA agents ends up meeting the same fate. Yeah. And this is where you start figuring out, okay, this is more than just more than just meets the eye. Something is
Yeah.
happening here. I think it's when you start getting understanding when he speaks, when Mickelson's character is in the hotel and there's an African American bellhop that comes in and he asks him, "Where are you from?" And he says, "Well, I'm from from the Bronx, I guess. I
Yeah.
forget the name,
Like
someplace like that, just an
Yeah.
American town." And he said, "No, from where are you from?" He said, "I was right next to Yankee Stadium. That's where I was born." You could tell that there was this German Aryan, this,
Yes.
and you knew that he still felt superior over
Yeah.
any other race or any other.
Oh, for sure.
And so, yeah, so it really solidifies that this guy is a true Nazi and he believes in the cause.
Yeah, it does imply that this guy he's been playing the long game.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't this wasn't just a simple, I'm gonna, all of a sudden this came about. It was, I ditched Germany because I saw things going bad.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with the Americans because that allowed me to be able to do other things and find other things. All of that. Like, this guy's been working on this plan for a long, long time, not just recently.
Yeah. The character that kind of got me is Boyd Holbrook is the actor's name. He played Claybar. Claybar was his name. And he was actually, at first you think he's a agent, but he actually is working for,
that got confusing
working for
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was working for Dr. Fowler.
Initially.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Wait, whose side is this guy on?
Who is he?
Until he shot somebody. And then I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's, I thought it was a good ride. I enjoyed it. I watched it for a second time for the review, and I don't know. I just think it was done really well. There was some of my favorite parts are just special moments between the characters. But I really enjoy the action. The action was really good. I like the action. The special effects I thought was good. And I don't know. I mean,
I was talking to my wife about the tuk-tuk. And I said, I'm not sure you can drift a tuk-tuk, because that's one of those, you're going to have to suspend belief for just a little bit.
Yes.
But she's like, and my wife goes, I don't think tuk-tuks go that fast. And I said, I've been in a tuk-tuk in India. I don't know that they go that fast, but they feel that scary.
Yeah.
My buddy and I were in India at one point, and we had a tuk-tuk through Bombay, and we were concerned whether or not we were going to make it to the hotel. We were scared the whole ride from the airport.
You were done. You needed to buy some tuk-tuks. You needed some tuk-tuks after that, I bet. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I saw there's a lot of stuff in it. The young man, I think he did a really good job. What's his name?
The character was
Teddy. Teddy was it was kind of a Indiana Jones kind of new short round, kind of in a way,
Yeah. It would have been nice to have short round pop in.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely could have.
But I guess, because of the location, maybe it didn't make sense.
And that's true. That's true.
But I think it still could have been cool to have him show up.
Yeah, I mean, it was just really good. I love I love the Marion recreates the kissing scene, like we talked about earlier. I love the, Sala telling the story, in the very beginning, wanting to join with Indy. And I don't know. I'm I come away from it and I ask myself, do I really enjoy it because I thought it was going to be like really bad, or the last film really disappointed me. But I really do think this is. I can't think of a better way to actually end the series, end the trilogy, or not
Yeah.
trilogy, but the
series.
series. Yeah,
I feel like this is a good end.
yeah.
Harrison, don't do another one. Just
Yeah, no,
stop.
I'm just saying that this is it. This is it.
Yeah.
And
Now, if you want to reboot Indiana Jones with a whole new actor from scratch, feel free.
Feel free to do that, but
don't.
So that would be interesting. Who would that be? Let's think about that. Let's
could be a good Indiana
Jones. Okay, folks, this
for the future.
You're going to hear a lot of clicking on the keyboards because this is something we just thought of, or I just popped in my brain.
What
freaking Elon Musk chip?
What about Isaacs?
Oh, Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaacs.
I think he would.
What about him?
How old was Harrison Ford when he first played? I
don't know.
Ford age in Indiana Jones. He wasn't 41, was he? No, he was 38. Harrison Ford was 38.
Okay.
Man, that's hard to believe. He was 38 when he made that. The first Indiana Jones movie.
He was, of the main cast for Star Wars.
Yeah, he was
outside of Sir Alec Guinness. He was one of the older actors. He was considerably older than Mark Hamill or Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
And Isaacs is 44 right now. Oscar Isaacs.
You could do it.
Isaac. Let's see.
Yeah, I can see that.
What about Pedro Pascal?
No. I don't see that. I really don't.
Okay.
I mean,
I think Pedro Pascal's in too many things.
I
like him, but I just think he's in too many things.
Let me see here.
What I don't think you want is Indiana Jones needs to be somebody who's slightly older.
Yes.
Like not somebody in his 20s.
Now, Bradley Cooper may be. I don't know if you type in Bradley Cooper, he has a little bit of that Harrison Ford look about him. He's an older.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean,
I could see that.
Let's
trying to think of who else might be. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it might be a good fit, but
someone said Joaquin Phoenix. I don't think so.
No. I like Joaquin Phoenix, but I don't think that's a good option.
No, I don't think so either.
Man, I really like Oscar Isaac.
I do too. I think he would do a really good job.
Yeah.
What we saw on Moon Knight series.
Yeah.
We saw how he can play, a confident, heroic character, and then kind of a less secure, doubting, person. Yeah. And Indiana Jones has a little bit of both, a little bit, He
does. And I will say he had more of that in the first film than I think he did in this film.
I think so too.
First film, when you saw him with the glasses on teaching in front of the class, he was awkward and weird and nerdy. But then he would go put on the hat and take his glasses off, and he was super digger man, but super archaeologist.
Someone mentioned
I think
another person mentioned Chris Pratt. Nope, I don't want Chris Pratt. Nope. He's nothing against Chris Pratt, but Chris Pratt to me anymore is just Chris Pratt playing somebody. It's just he's not a character actor. He's just
and too much humor in my like Harrison Ford can say something funny.
Yes.
But he is not a comic actor. And I don't think you want a comic actor in this position.
No, you don't.
Ryan Reynolds would not be a good fit.
No.
It needs to be somebody who's, like you said, a good, serious character actor who can deliver a funny line from time to time.
What do you think about Ryan Gosling? He played with him on Blade Runner. What was it? 20? I can't remember the name of it was the second Blade Runner.
Maybe.
But I mean, so far, my favorite is Oscar. Okay. He's on the top of my list. Because I think we nailed it. I think we got the casting done for him. So I really do think he would fit that. There's some other ones. A guy named Jake Johnson. I don't think so. He's more comedic. Someone suggested Chris Evans. No, he's definitely not.
No, he's too clean.
He is too clean.
He's too clean.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. People like Helmsworth is not a good fit.
No.
He's like, he can't be too handsome.
No, he can't. He can't be.
He needs to be kind of rugged, weird, rugged, not super buff,
Yeah.
But, Gosling maybe. What about Sebastian Stan?
Oh, that's a thought.
Not Hiddleston.
No. No,
Sebastian Stan could work.
Wouldn't
necessarily be my first pick.
No,
but could work.
Could.
Chris Pine feels too clean to me as well.
Yeah, it's too clean. It is.
It needs to be somebody slightly gritty.
Tom Selleck. Oh, sorry, that was Never mind.
No, apparently he was supposed to be cast originally.
Yes, he was.
And I think it doesn't work.
No. Even then.
I'm so glad he did. I don't think we would have. I'm not sure we would have had a second movie.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, okay, Oscar Isaac. It's been decided he is the next Indiana Jones. There you go. By the way, I want another Moon Knight. Okay, I know we're talking about Indiana Jones, but I want another Moon Knight.
Yeah,
you said they set us up for one that possibly we could have another one.
Yeah,
but what's the deal? Anyway, we're not talking about that. But anyway, yes, we are. Oh, and speaking of that, Dune, yes, Oscar Isaac, Dune.
Oh yeah,
2. Mm-hmm. That's going to be coming up
in a month and a half. March?
Month and a half. So like there you go. I look forward to seeing that.
I'm looking forward to that as well.
Also, too, we have Bad Batch supposed to be coming out. When is it coming out? Is it not February? A little bit.
I think it is February, right?
February. Well, I don't know. Let's check that out, folks. We want to see because I look forward to that. This is the end of the show, and we start just babbling about absolutely anything that comes to our minds. Ooh, thank you. Thank you very much.
So a little less than a month away, about 3 weeks.
Awesome. So,
and that's going to be a long series because it's
it is. That's right, because it's
going to be going to run into like April or May or something.
Yeah, we're not going to do.
It's going to be a weekly show.
Yeah, we won't do a show by show on that.
No. Maybe we do maybe we do a review of the first episode and then we come back with our thoughts after the series ends.
The series. That's a good idea. I think we should do that. Awesome. I don't know. I don't have anything else. Like I said, if you haven't seen Indiana Jones, go see it. Of course, we didn't do a spoiler alert, so there you go. But again, if you haven't, but exactly, if you haven't seen it by now, watch it, enjoy it. If you had any doubts, go ahead. If you have Disney Plus, go ahead, watch it.
It was good.
It was good. I don't have much else to say. I know that, folks, if you want to see more of our content, well, you can go to YouTube/speakingnerdy.com. That's our YouTube channel. You can also check us out on speakingnerdy.com. That's our website where you can check out everything there. Plus, we also have our audio podcast, which is this without seeing our faces, or if you're listening, it's this and seeing our faces. Makes sense? I don't know. But you can check us out on all your favorite audio podcasting platforms. We're also on the Facebooks too. We have a Facebook group and on the Instagrams. So like you kids like to say. So I don't know. Do you have anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Well, folks, I think all we can say is thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week, Lord willing. And the topic will, whatever we decide at the last minute.
This has been the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Pope. Oscar Isaac, we could do it. One of us can be short round and the other one can be
I'm short round. That's not a name, that's a description.